Welcome to the Practical Ascension podcast. I'm your host and guide, Tracy Goody. Join me as we explore the multifaceted experience of awakening in this modern age of transformation. Subscribe, leave a review, or share this episode to show your support. It's mission on, lightworkers. Practical Ascension key number 2, intuition, insight, and discernment. Now, you may have heard me speak previously about some of the keys to practical ascension. These are foundational pieces, they're awarenesses and aspects that create this environment of ascension. So there's this Zen saying that goes, enlightenment is an accident and practice makes us accident prone. So when we practice these keys, we're doing exactly that. The practical ascension keys set you up for ascension, enlightenment, and awakening so that you're moving through one wave and another, and with every enlightenment, which is also the embodiment of light, you release more of this old programming and you're stepping more deeply into your soul self, into your soul truth, and into your soul expression. Today, I am focused on key number 2, the intuition, insight, and discernment pathway, and how can you can utilize this pathway to support your awakening journey. So you're tapping into your own version of these soul gifts, and it's pure gold during your spiritual journey, and it really supports every area of your life. So when you're considering where we are at right now and what is available to each of us on the spiritual path, it really is amazing where we're headed. In the last 20 years, and even more deeply in the last 10, we've been waking up, and our individual and collective consciousness is all beginning to shift, and kind of this veil is getting thinner, that whole situation. And our connection to other realms of reality beyond what we experience with our senses in 3D world are making themselves known increasingly. So the key word here is subtle, right? This is subtle senses. These are subtle realms. When we're moving on the intuition pathway, we're working with subtle energies. Living in the 3D world, we're much more used to things being in your face. Oh, this is clearly a tree or a sandwich or a dog, right? When we connect to the intuitive pathway, we begin to realize that there's much, much more to the picture, like much, much more. So the key of this pathway is not to open up as much of your intuitive senses as fast as possible. It's to bring awareness into the picture. Mindfully decide that you're ready to develop these senses, to practice your development, to trust the process, and to have fun and move through wave after wave of enlightenment. So when you're developing your intuition, it's important to not compare yourself to anyone else. And I mean, this is generally the way to go anyway. But since there are unlimited ways that our intuition can speak to us, it won't look exactly like anyone else, and it won't move in the same time frame as anyone else. So there are clairsenses that many of us are familiar with. So clairvoyance, when we're like visualizing and even seeing messages, in your mind's eye and possibly with your physical eyes. And this is like the one that I find most people have a subconscious marker for. So thinking that if I don't see things, I must not be getting clear, powerful, or accurate messages, which is totally false. Clairvoyance is simply one of the ways that we interpret divine intelligence. So next is clairaudience, and this is when you hear. So again, you could be hearing kind of like in your mind's eye or with your actual ears. And this is the thing about developing intuitively. It comes in waves of increasing clarity, confidence, and understanding. It's going to start subtle most of the time, and with your conscious choice to allow and believe in yourself, you let that tiny spark become a flame that is easy to interpret and understand. Now, we also have claircognizance, where we just know something. Now, these may come in when you simply feel a knowing that it's the right path for you. I laugh because this was my first clairsense to come in, so I'm very familiar with it and the doubt that comes along with it. And maybe you have just this knowing that, this is the right person to work with or something like that. And it can be tricky because unlike clairvoyance and clairaudience, where you kind of see and hear, even if it's subtle, you have something to grasp onto. With claircognizance, your mission is to honor and trust as much as possible. And this can be a journey and a challenge all on its own. And our intuitive journey really does highlight our soul development and will ask us to stretch more deeply into who we really are as we release the illusions and false programs that we have been operating under. So then we also have clairsentience. And this is the interpretation that uses our physical body and quite often can be the easiest to feel because we naturally feel things in our body as a metaphor for what's going on with us mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. So many of us are used to clairsentience and we don't even realize it. There are also more specialized clear senses like smelling or tasting that may be more natural soul gifts or may develop as your other senses develop. So with all these combinations of intuitive communication, plus our own unique system of decoding the messages, plus our own subconscious beliefs that either support or discourage us, every journey into intuition is going to be really unique and magical, if you let it be. There's also the possibility of your intuition developing kind of more right-brained as the senses that I had mentioned, or more left-brain. So whenever you begin the flow into intuition in a left brain, you're using tools like a pendulum or with like a protocol of questions or cards to interpret the answers. And sometimes these tools will serve us for years, and other times they are just tiny stepping stones so that our logic can get on board and let us bloom into our clear senses. When you have gratitude for yourself, for this seed, this bud, or this flowering plant of intuition, and you have fun on the journey without judgment, you will develop greater clarity and be blown away by how connected you actually are. When we look at the intuition pathway logically, we're actually being supported by science in many ways. Yeah, there's a lot of catching up to do. And in my opinion, a lot of progress is going to be made the more scientists and researchers really open their mind and continue to break down and dissolve the kind of materialism that what we experience and observe with the 3D senses is what's real. There are a number of leaders that are really exploring intuition, sense, and energy. And we might not hear about it in the mainstream, but we're seeing glimpses of science showing us more of the unseen world. And as we are demystifying and claiming this as a natural part of life, even more of the population is going to begin to wake up. So if you are called to explore the intuition pathway, you're one of these trailblazers, and you're here not only to help yourself reclaim these abilities, but to help tip the scales for the whole collective. And if you happen to be called to touch on the science side, anything from like Irvin Laszlo or Rupert Sheldrake is going to point you in the right direction. But if you want just kind of a little bit of a lighter explanation, the book Real Magic, Ancient Wisdom, Modern Science, and a Guide to the Secret Power of the Universe by Dean Radin is a really fun place to start. I really enjoyed that book. So when our logic gets on board with our intuitive knowing, things begin to move and flow as we're releasing the restrictions that we hold on to what is possible for us. We're just opening up increasingly. So I myself have been on this journey of self-exploration of these gifts for about 23 years or so, and it's only been in the last 7 that I've actually allowed myself to claim that it is possible for me. Once the mindset shift occurred, it opened the door for the truly magical world of intuition to explode into my reality bit by bit. Now, my progression to connect to my intuitive subtle senses or psychic abilities was a conscious choice and a process. It was a choice that I made over and over again because of this deep soul calling to know myself, and the knowing that said, this is a natural part of who you are. This is worth exploring, even if it means you have to let go of what you think of as normal and break into the strange and unknown. So if you're in this space and you are ready to consciously activate your intuitive gifts and make the choices to remember and utilize this natural part of yourself, I highly encourage you to dig more deeply into this pathway. The powerful pathway connects you back into your inner knowing and really prepares you for this increasing worldwide transformation that's underway, where your discernment is going to play a key role in moving forward. So, who's the right teacher for me? What's the right food or supplement? What's my purpose? This info that I'm receiving from this card reading, is it on point for me? So this discernment is key for moving forward in your most empowered way, and having this insider access to your divine knowing really makes the process easier and way more magical. So making choices that are aligned to your highest and best good and the highest and best good of everybody involved, as opposed to choices that maybe have been manipulated by the agendas of others, even like marketing agendas. That's going to serve you for your whole life. So the more you connect to these natural soul gifts that are so needed at this time, the more you will step into your role as a leader and way shower for those around you. You are here right now for a reason. And if you are called to create this new reality, deepening your connection to your insight will be a huge impact for your path forward. So with the Practical Ascension framework, I've created a series of classes to help you more deeply connect to your intuition, insight, discernment at this really powerful time in human evolution. So I'm so excited to announce the enrollment is open for the Ascension Alchemy Method Intuition Masterclass series. If you do feel the call to explore this area deeper, you can check that out in the show notes below. So this is a 3-series masterclass. I call it maybe around the intermediate level, right? It works with a combination of teaching, mindset, and energy work to help anchor you into the most practical way possible back to the truth of who you are and connection to your soul gifts. So we will explore your unique process of unfolding these gifts within yourself and how to calibrate and work with your soul gifts for your highest and best good and impact. I'm so thrilled to be offering this masterclass and helping you to anchor more of your soul self. It really is so much fun. So when you're tapping in at this level, you're also taking your focus and attention off of what is, that persistent programming and habits that you're living in. And you begin to feel where things are out of balance. And with your practice of looking within, that's insight, and tapping into your divine connection, which is your intuition, you move more into more clarity on what is your highest and best path forward, and that's your discernment. And from here, you make choices based on your intuition and slowly building up your courage and trust over time. And when you're making choices from the place of soul, of intuition, you're also stepping into your soul self. You're disrupting this pattern of just going along with life and you're participating to the fullest of your abilities to co-create the reality that you adore. I love this intuition pathway. It has fed my soul so much, and it's done so many magical things for my journey. If you are resonating with this message, then definitely check out the link in the show notes below to learn more about the Intuition Masterclass and feel if it's the right fit for you. All right, thank you for joining me today. Have an amazing day.